Hello everyone, and welcome back to skillUp26. This is day 2 of our 30 Days English Practice series. If you are learning English and you sometimes understand English but don't know what to say when you actually have to speak, today's episode is especially for you. Today, we're not going to study English like a traditional classroom lesson. Instead, I'm going to tell you a story. But this isn't just an ordinary story. It's a story designed to help you learn and practice real-life English conversation. So, while listening, imagine that you are the main character. Imagine that everything I'm describing is happening to you. Whenever you hear an important English sentence, I'll stop and explain it. And sometimes, I'll ask you a question and give you a moment to answer yourself. Don't worry about making mistakes. The goal is not to speak perfect English. The goal is to become comfortable speaking English. So put on your headphones, relax, and imagine yourself traveling to another country. Let's begin. The journey begins. Imagine that you have been planning an international trip for several months. Today is finally the day. Your flight is at 8:45 in the evening, and you're traveling to London. You wake up in the morning feeling excited. You check your passport. You check your ticket. You check your luggage. And then you check everything one more time because you don't want to forget anything. You leave home and arrive at the airport a few hours before your flight. As soon as you enter the airport, you see hundreds of people moving in different directions. Some people are carrying large suitcases. Some are looking at the information screens. Some are talking on their phones. You look at the large departure screen. You find your flight number. Flight 245, London. The screen says, check-in, counter 32. You take a deep breath. You have reached your first English-speaking situation. You walk toward the check-in counter. At the check-in counter, a friendly airport employee smiles and says, "Good afternoon. May I see your passport and booking confirmation, please?" Now imagine that you're the passenger. What would you say? Take a moment. A simple and natural answer is, "Good afternoon." Certainly. Here you are. Notice the expression, "Here you are." We use this when we give something to another person. For example, someone asks for your phone. You can say, "Sure. Here you are." Someone asks for your ID. You can say, "Here you are." It's short, polite, and extremely useful. The employee checks your details and asks, "You're traveling to London today, correct?" You answer, "Yes, that's right." This means, "Yes, that is correct." You could also say, "Yes, exactly," or "Yes, that's correct." But in everyday conversation, "Yes, that's right" sounds very natural. The employee continues, "Are you checking in any luggage today? You have one large suitcase and one backpack." You say, "Yes. I have one suitcase to check in and one backpack." The employee asks you to put your suitcase on the weighing scale. She says, "Your suitcase weighs 20 kilograms. That's within the permitted limit." You smile and say, "That's good to hear." Thank you. Remember, that's good to hear. We use it when someone gives us positive information. Choosing your seat, the employee asks, "Do you have any preference for your seat? You want to sit near the window." How would you say it? You could say, "I'd prefer a window seat, if possible." This sounds more polite and natural than simply saying, "I want a window seat." The employee checks the available seats and says, "Yes, I can give you a window seat in row 24. You smile. "That would be great." Thank you. "That would be great" is a useful expression when you are happy with a suggestion or offer. Your boarding pass. The employee prints your boarding pass and hands it to you. She says, "Here is your boarding pass." You reply, "Thank you." Then she tells you, your flight departs at 8:45 p.m. and boarding begins at 7:55 p.m. You want to know your gate, so you ask, "Which gate should I go to?" That's a very useful sentence. You could also say, Could you please tell me which gate I need to go to? The employee checks your boarding pass. Your flight is currently scheduled to depart from gate 18. You ask, is gate 18 far from here? She says, it's about a 7-minute walk. Just follow the signs for the departure gates. You say, all right, thank you. Finding security, you leave the check-in counter and start walking towards security. You see an airport employee nearby and ask, excuse me, could you please tell me where the security checkpoint is? This is an excellent sentence to remember. Instead of saying, where is security? You can say, could you please tell me where the security checkpoint is? The employee points ahead. Certainly. It's just ahead on your left. You say, thank you. He replies, you're welcome. At security, the security officer says, good afternoon. Please place your bags in the tray. You place your backpack in the tray. The officer says, you'll also need to remove your laptop and place it separately. You say, no problem. The officer asks, do you have any liquids in your backpack? You say, yes, I have a small bottle of water. The officer says, please take that out as well. You reply, certainly. After the security check, the officer says, thank you. You can collect your belongings now. Before leaving, he says, have a safe flight. You smile, thank you. Have a good day. Looking for a cafe, now you're through security. You still have more than an hour before boarding. You feel a little hungry. You ask an airport employee, excuse me, do you know if there's a cafe near gate 18? The employee says, yes. There's a cafe just around the corner from the departure area. You ask, is it far from here? She replies, no. It's only about a 2-minute walk. You say, great. I still have some time before boarding. At the cafe, you enter the cafe. The person behind the counter asks, good evening. What can I get for you? You look at the menu and decide to order a coffee and a chicken sandwich. You say, I'd like a coffee and a chicken sandwich, please. The employee asks, would you like milk in your coffee? You say, yes, please. And could I have a bottle of water as well? The employee replies, of course. You sit down and enjoy your meal. After a few minutes, you check the time. It's 7:30. Boarding starts at 7:55. You finish your coffee and head toward gate 18. A surprise. Flight delay. When you reach the gate, you notice something unusual. The departure screen now says, Flight 245, delayed. You become a little worried. You approach the airport employee. Excuse me. I just saw an announcement about my flight. Has the departure time changed? The employee checks the system. Yes. Unfortunately, Flight 245 has been delayed by about 40 minutes. You ask, oh, I see. Do you know what caused the delay? She explains, the airline hasn't provided the final reason yet, but the updated departure time is 9:25 p.m. You ask, will the gate remain the same? She says, at the moment, yes. It's still scheduled to depart from gate 18. You ask, okay. Will there be another announcement if anything changes? She replies, yes. Please keep an eye on the departure screens and listen for announcements. You say, all right. Thank you for letting me know. She responds, you're very welcome. Your first international flight. You sit near the gate and wait. After a few minutes, you start thinking about what will happen after you arrive in London. You approach the employee again. Excuse me. Actually, this is my first international trip. Could I ask you something? She smiles. Of course. What would you like to know? You ask, what happens after I land in London? She explains, once you arrive, you'll first go through immigration. After that, you'll collect your checked luggage and then proceed through customs. You ask, Is there anything I should have ready for immigration? She replies, keep your passport, visa or travel documents, and boarding pass easily accessible. You say, I see. That's helpful. Thank you. She says, you're welcome. You ask one more question, and if I can't find my luggage, where should I go? She answers, you should contact the airline's baggage services desk. They'll help you track your luggage. You say, that's good to know. She replies, don't worry. The airport staff will be happy to assist you if you need any help. You smile. I appreciate that. She says, you're very welcome. I hope you have a smooth journey. You answer, thank you. I hope so too. Boarding a few minutes later, you hear an announcement. Passengers traveling on Flight 245 to London are now invited to begin boarding. You look at your boarding pass. Gate 18. You stand up, check your passport one more time, and join the line. The staff member checks your boarding pass and smiles. Have a pleasant flight. You smile back. Thank you. You walk toward the airplane. You find your seat, 24A, a window seat. You sit down, look outside the window, and think about the journey you've just completed. A few hours ago, you were worried that you wouldn't know what to say in English. Now you've successfully checked in. You've talked to airport staff. You've asked for directions. You've spoken at security. You've ordered food. You've asked about a flight delay. You've asked questions about immigration and luggage. And you did all of it in English. Maybe your English wasn't perfect, but you communicated. And that's what really matters. Now it's your turn. Now let's stop the story for a moment. Imagine that you are at the airport. I'm going to ask you some questions. Don't just listen. Answer aloud. Question 1. Good afternoon. May I see your passport and booking confirmation, please? Pause and answer aloud. Model answer. Good afternoon. Certainly. Here you are. Question 2. Are you checking in any luggage today? Pause and answer aloud. Model answer. Yes. I have one suitcase to check in. Question 3. Do you have any preference for your seat? Pause and answer aloud. Model answer. I'd prefer a window seat, if possible. Question 4. Which gate do you need to go to? Pause and answer aloud. Model answer. Could you please tell me where gate 18 is? Question 5. You notice that your flight has been delayed. What would you ask? Pause and answer aloud. Model answer. Has the departure time changed? Question 6. You can't find your luggage after arriving. What would you ask? Pause and answer aloud. Model answer. Could you please tell me where the baggage services desk is? 20 sentences to remember. 1. Good afternoon. Certainly. Here you are. 2. Yes, that's right. 3. I have one suitcase to check in. 4. That's good to hear. 5. I'd prefer a window seat, if possible. 6. That would be great. 7. Which gate should I go to? 8. Is gate 18 far from here? 9. Could you please tell me where the security checkpoint is? 10. No problem. 11. Do you know if there's a café nearby? 12. I'd like a coffee, please. 13. Has the departure time changed? 14. Do you know what caused the delay? 15. Will the gate remain the same? 16. What happens after I land? 17. Is there anything I should have ready? 18. Where should I go if I can't find my luggage? 19. I appreciate that. 20. I hope you have a smooth journey. Today's English challenge: don't just listen to this episode once and forget about it. Today, choose 5 sentences from this story. For example, I'd prefer a window seat, if possible. Which gate should I go to? Has the departure time changed? Could you please tell me where the security checkpoint is? What happens after I land? Say each sentence 5 times aloud. Then close your eyes and imagine yourself at an airport. Create your own answers. You don't need anyone else to practice with. You can practice by yourself. Speak to yourself. Ask yourself questions. Answer yourself. The more you speak, the more comfortable you become. And remember, you don't become fluent by knowing thousands of words. You become better by using the words and sentences you already know. Closing, and that's where our airport journey comes to an end. Today wasn't just an English lesson. It was a real-life speaking experience. You learned how to check in. You learned how to talk about luggage. You learned how to ask for a seat. You learned how to find your gate. You learned how to communicate at security. You learned how to order something at a café. You learned how to ask about a delayed flight. And you learned how to ask for help when traveling internationally. But most importantly, you practiced speaking. Remember our 4-step formula. Listen dash, understand dash, repeat dash, speak. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Don't wait until your English is perfect before you start speaking. Start speaking now and improve along the way. If you enjoyed today's lesson, subscribe to skillUp26 and join us tomorrow for day 3 of our 30 Days English Practice series.